When the crash of 1929 happened, many people were caught off guard. They were highly leveraged, using debt to invest in a stock market that kept pumping for about a decade. Most people had already forgotten about the Depression of 1920 that started from a flu pandemic. The Federal Reserve had been pumping money, and the Congress had been allowing the stimulus to happen for nearly a decade, causing people to get completely out of sync with what normal cycles of the stock market would normally handle. That long period of exposure to the stock market and the stocks always going up caused people to lose their minds, thinking that because anything they bought was going up, that it was their doing and not because of stimulus from the government. A few men made absolute world-renowned style riches after the crash of 1929. And I want to talk about that because that cycle is coming back today. You see, today, the average person does not even have $500 in their savings account, yet they have debt. They have credit card debt, mortgage debt. They've got student loan debt. They also have margin debt. Many people are highly leveraged in the stock market, whether that be through their 401ks and their retirement funds, or they are actively trading with leverage. Most people do not remember how bad the Great Recession was of 2008. It had to be called the Great Recession because it was worse than the average recession. I want to talk about how these men made money, because right now, the cycle is repeating so amazingly because we are in the middle of an online tax revolt. You see, people all over the US are completely upset and angry how much the government is taking in taxes. And so one solution is that many people are simply going to stop paying taxes. But this is how a couple of men completely cleaned up. First person I want to bring up is J. Paul Getty. He was one of the richest men in the world later on in life. But how he started is he started to buy distressed properties during the Great Depression because people stopped paying their taxes. Now, ironically, the reason why people stopped paying their taxes back then is because the entire economy was wiped out. Today, people have stopped paying their taxes in a revolt, and the crash hasn't even started yet. We are in that mode where people are still euphoric because they think they just voted themselves absolute prosperity. J. Paul Getty focused on cash-producing real estate back during the Great Depression, like oil-rich land that could later on bring him cash flow. You see, back during the Great Depression, there wasn't massive apartment complexes. There wasn't massive warehouses with, commercial property that you could buy, that you could rent out to multiple tenants. Sure, they existed little bits, but nothing like they do today. So J. Paul Getty started buying these properties that produced cash flow. And he took a straight advantage of the tax lien system. Another person that's important to note was John F. Kennedy's father, Joseph Kennedy Sr. It's important to note that he was one of the people that made significant money before and after the 1929 crash, and he did it through buying distressed real estate that people stopped paying their taxes on. You see, the reason why tax liens are so powerful is because for the last century, it has been very hard to tap in and learn about the system because it is at the county level. Every different state treats distressed properties when people do not pay their taxes differently. Some are deed states that hold auctions that you can buy the entire property, and those are great. But a lot of people don't realize the other half of the country where anyone can bid on a tax lien and get an incredible rate of interest. It gives the owner a little bit longer to stay in the property and bring up the taxes to where they're current. But the person that invests in them makes lots of money as far as interest. Think of it as when you don't pay your registration for the DMV. Anywhere in the country, when you get a notice from the DMV, it says you owe X amount. Let's say you owe $300 for your registration. It says it's due on or before this specific date. And it says that if you do not pay it on this date, if you pay it after, it will be this price and it's more expensive. Think of that difference as interest that you are paying the state. However, tax liens are very different. And it's still a very hard to break into industry because for decades and decades and decades, people have charged thousands and thousands of dollars, even upwards of $50,000. There are people on YouTube that charge to teach you and coach you $50,000 how to buy these tax liens because it is so lucrative. It's important to understand that this is how a lot of people made money. I think it's absolutely disgusting. That's how much it costs. That's why, and I'll put the link down because everyone's been asking for it, an insane deal on the entire the tax lien course for $249 if you want it. Links down below. It's for a limited time. But I want you to understand more in depth of why it was so important to understand this very unknown way of investing. You see, Kennedy and Getty knew how to do this. Howard Hughes was another titan, but he wasn't a titan back then, that was using the tax lien system to buy up properties or make incredible interest during the Great Depression. Before the 1929 crash, there was not a tax revolt. There was not a group of people, thousands and thousands of people around the country that were screaming and yelling about the tax system saying, we're just going to stop paying taxes. Today, we have that happening, and those people are about to mess around and find out. But that doesn't mean that good, honest people that are paying their taxes, that are working hard and trying to invest and become wealthy should not be able to take advantage of people that are saying, nope, we're not going to pay what we agreed to pay when we bought the properties. This is one very important distinction. There are people out there that think it's absolutely horrible that anyone would ever buy a distressed property, whether it be a tax lien or a tax deed at an auction or buying a foreclosure. I can't believe you would take advantage of someone, they would say, during their worst time. Well, you know what their best time was? When they used somebody else's money to buy real estate. Now, I'm obviously filming this live because I'm a real person. I don't use editing or anything fancy to talk to people on the internet and teach them. But I want you to understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong with buying a foreclosed property or buying a tax deed at an auction from a county government or a bank that is getting screwed over because they made an agreement with somebody and somebody had ill intent later on to go, you know what, I'm just not going to repay my loan. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And the people that take advantage of this during this next wave, as everyone in our country, majority, 99% of them, are completely underwater, getting into more and more debt, not caring about the consequences, not thinking about it because they want to impress either themselves or those around them. That's the only reason they're doing it. Will one day soon not be able to pay those payments. And I like to think that everyone watching this channel is saving up and preparing for those downturns. You should be preparing for better prices in stocks, better prices in crypto, better prices in gold and silver, better prices in everything, because everything that has a dollar amount tied to it right now is at a certain level because of the amount of credit and debt in our nation. And that is very serious. I'll leave you with this last thought. This world was built by men and women that were prepared ahead of time to take advantage when most people failed to understand the cycles. And we are there right now. The pressure is building in the kettle. The lid is about to blow off. If you'd like to learn about tax liens, link down below, the lowest price course and the best course in the country. And the greatest news is you could do it all from your home. You could live in California and buy tax liens in Florida. You can live in Oregon and you could buy tax liens in Georgia. You could do it all from your home. You just need to know how to buy them, how to buy them right, how to sign up for the auctions, and how to bid. It's actually quite easy once you learn the system, but it is quite a system because every state is different and every county has their own auctions. There's so many opportunities out there to make incredible money. One of my students has over 75 active liens running at one time. I couldn't be more proud. Be like Getty. Be like Kennedy. Be like Hughes. Have a little money ready and take advantage when the people that wanted to take advantage of our county governments or our banks decided, I'm just not going to pay anymore. Well, then you get the property and you go take care of it and you become the next real estate baron of 2026, like those men did in 1929. Hopefully you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.